So, here's the thing. We live in a world absolutely drowning in data. It's everywhere. Every click, every purchase, every single heartbeat recorded on a smartwatch contributes to this vast, ever-expanding ocean of information. But data on its own is just noise. It's a jumble of numbers and statistics that frankly can be overwhelming and, dare I say, a little bit boring. This is where the magic of data storytelling comes in. It's the art and science of transforming raw data into a compelling narrative, something that connects with us on a human level, something that makes us feel and understand. It's about finding the story hidden within the spreadsheets and making it resonate, which is a superpower for any organization trying to communicate effectively. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to wield this superpower. We're going to explore how to turn complex information into clear, persuasive stories that can change minds and drive action. But before we dive deep, I want to mention something really exciting. We're hosting a free webinar where we'll unpack all of this in even greater detail, giving you actionable steps to become a data storyteller yourself. The link to register is in the description, and I genuinely hope to see you there. It's an opportunity to really level up how your organization communicates, and I think it's going to be incredibly valuable. To guide us on this journey, we're going to look at the absolute masters of this craft, visual capitalists. If you've ever found yourself lost for an hour scrolling through their infographics, you know what I'm talking about. They have this incredible ability to take incredibly dense topics like the global economy or the future of energy and present them in a way that is not only digestible but genuinely fascinating. They are the gold standard, the platonic ideal of data storytelling, and by studying their methods we can learn how to apply their genius to our own work. So let's get started. So, what is it exactly that makes a visual capitalist graphic so sticky? Why do their visualizations grab our attention and refuse to let go? I think it boils down to a few core principles, the first of which is an almost fanatical commitment to clarity. When you look at one of their pieces, you're never left wondering, what am I supposed to be looking at? The central theme is immediately apparent. They use strong headlines, logical flow, and a clean design hierarchy that guides your eye exactly where it needs to go. It's like having a brilliant tour guide for data. You're never lost, and every stop on the tour is meaningful. This clarity is achieved through a masterful use of visual language. They don't just throw charts on a page, they choose the right kind of visualization for the data they're presenting. A bar chart for comparison, a Sankey diagram for flow, a map for geographical distribution. Each choice is deliberate, designed to make the underlying pattern in the data as intuitive as possible. They understand that our brains are wired to process visual information far more quickly than text or raw numbers. By translating complex datasets into elegant visual forms, they're essentially speaking our brain's native language, which makes comprehension almost effortless for the viewer. Then there are the key takeaways. This, for me, is where their genius really shines. At the top or bottom of many of their larger infographics, you'll find a concise summary. A few bullet points that distill the entire complex story into its most essential insights. This is an incredible act of generosity to the reader. It says, we know you're busy, so here's the most important stuff. But it also serves a narrative purpose. It frames the story, giving you a lens through which to interpret the more detailed visuals that follow. It's the thesis statement of their visual essay, ensuring the core message lands with maximum impact. And of course, we have to talk about the sheer aesthetic appeal. The graphics are just beautiful. They use a consistent and appealing color palette, high-quality icons, and a layout that feels balanced and professional. This isn't just superficial decoration. Good design builds trust. When something looks well-made and thoughtfully constructed, we're more inclined to trust the information it contains. It signals authority and credibility. It tells us that the creators cared enough to not only get the data right, but to also present it in a way that respects our time and our intelligence. Ultimately, the visual capitalist approach is a holistic one. It's a perfect synthesis of accurate data, appropriate visualization, clear narrative, and beautiful design. They don't treat these as separate elements, but as interconnected parts of a single, cohesive storytelling machine. They recognize that to make data memorable, you have to make it meaningful, and to make it meaningful, you have to tell a story. This isn't just about making data pretty. It's about making data understandable, persuasive, and ultimately, human. They are, in essence, translators from the language of spreadsheets to the language of people. Okay, So visual capitalist is amazing. We've established that. But how do we, mere mortals who may not have a team of graphic designers and data scientists at our beck and call, adapt these techniques for our own organizations? The good news is that the core principles are surprisingly accessible. It's less about having fancy software and more about a shift in mindset. It begins with asking the right question, not what data do I have, but what story do I want to tell? Once you know the message you want to convey, you can start looking for the data that supports it. Let's talk about some specific, adaptable techniques. Take the tree map for instance. It's a visualization that visual capitalist uses frequently to show hierarchical data or parts of a whole, like the composition of a market or a budget. It's incredibly effective because it uses both size and color to convey information simultaneously. Your organization could use a tree map to show your sales breakdown by region and product line in a single, intuitive graphic. Instead of a boring table in a quarterly report, you have a vibrant, at-a-glance visualization that immediately shows where the biggest opportunities or problems lie. It's about choosing a visual that does the heavy lifting for you. Another powerful tool in their arsenal is the simple act of ranking. Humans are inherently drawn to lists and rankings. The top 10, the bottom 5, the fastest growing. It's a simple narrative structure that creates immediate interest and context. Instead of presenting a spreadsheet with 50 competing products and their sales figures, why not create a graphic titled The Top 10 Fastest Growing Products of Q3? This simple reframing transforms a dry dataset into a compelling story of success and competition. It gives your audience a clear narrative thread to follow and makes the information far more memorable and shareable. And don't forget the power of those key insights we talked about earlier. This is perhaps the easiest and most impactful technique to borrow. Before you present any chart, graph, or table in your next presentation or report, write one single sentence that tells your audience what they should learn from it. For example, instead of just showing a line graph of website traffic, add a title that says, "Website traffic increased 30% following our new marketing campaign." This simple act transforms you from a data presenter into a data interpreter. You're not just showing numbers, you're providing meaning and guiding your audience to the correct conclusion. The key is to start small and focus on persuasion. You don't need to create a sprawling, poster-sized infographic for every piece of data. Maybe your next internal email includes a simple, well-designed bar chart instead of a paragraph of text. Maybe your next presentation slide has one big, impactful number with a single sentence of context. The goal is to move away from data dumping and toward data-driven communication. It's about respecting your audience's cognitive load and using visual tools to make your message as simple, clear, and persuasive as humanly possible. So we've dissected the genius of visual capitalist and explored how you can adapt their techniques, but I know that going from theory to practice can be daunting. It's one thing to understand the what and the why, but it's another thing entirely to master the how. How do you actually choose the right chart? What free tools are out there to help you build these visuals? How do you craft a narrative that will resonate specifically with your leadership team, or your customers, or your investors? These are the practical, real-world questions that turn a good idea into a powerful skill. And that, my friends, is exactly why we have put together this free webinar. I want to personally invite you to join us. Think of it as a hands-on workshop, a practical extension of everything we've talked about in this video. We're going to move beyond the inspirational and get into the actionable. We'll do a deep dive into specific case studies, breaking them down step by step. We'll look at before and after examples, showing how a standard, boring report can be transformed into a persuasive data story that gets results. During the webinar, we'll cover the tools you can start using today, many of which are free, to create your own compelling visualizations. We'll walk through a framework for identifying the story in your data, even when it's not immediately obvious. We'll also have a live Q&A session, where you can ask me and other experts your specific questions about the challenges you're facing in your own organization. It's an opportunity to get personalized advice and connect with a community of people who are all trying to become better communicators. Registration is completely free, and it's incredibly simple. There is a link right at the top of the description below this video. Just click on it, enter your details, and you're in. We're holding it live, but if you can't make the specific time, registering will still grant you access to a replay so you can watch it whenever it's convenient for you. I genuinely believe that mastering this skill can be transformative not just for your organization but for your career. The ability to communicate complex ideas with clarity and persuasion is a superpower in any field. So please consider this your formal invitation. Let's take the next step on this journey together. Let's move from being consumers of great data storytelling to being creators of it. This webinar is designed to give you the confidence and the practical skills to start making that happen immediately. The value you'll get out of this hour will far outweigh the click it takes to sign up. I am really looking forward to seeing you there and exploring this fascinating world in more detail together. So, we've journeyed through the beautiful, orderly world of Visual Capitalist, and hopefully, you're feeling inspired. Inspired to see the numbers and spreadsheets that cross your desk not as a chore, but as an opportunity to find and tell a compelling story. Data is not the end point of a conversation. It should be the beginning. It's the evidence we use to build a case, to persuade, to enlighten, and to connect with each other on a deeper, more meaningful level. The principles we've discussed today are your starting point for making that happen, and if you're ready to take the next step to really dig in and build this skill, I cannot encourage you enough to sign up for our free webinar. It is the practical, hands-on guide that will bridge the gap between inspiration and implementation. We'll give you the tools, frameworks, and confidence you need to start transforming your own organizational communications right away. The link is in the description. It's free, it's valuable, and I promise it will be an hour well spent. Don't let your important data get lost in the noise. Remember, every dataset has a story to tell. Mastering the art of data storytelling is how you give that data a voice. It's how you transform your organization from one that simply reports information to one that inspires action, drives change, and leads with clarity. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the webinar.